Before we get into this video, I want to give a big thank you to Hannah Matthews, a tattoo artist out of South Jordan, Utah. These tattoo artist collabs are what make everything possible for Lonely Cowboy. Hannah made an amazing design for the collaborative tee that'll be popped up somewhere around here. And those are available at lonelycowboycode.com. 10% of all of our profits from our clothing goes into our scholarship fund. Our scholarship fund creates scholarships for high school seniors across the country interested in mental health education. How we pick the schools where these scholarships will be awarded are based on the tattoo artist. So the tattoo artist picks a school, then we go down the list. Every time our scholarship fund reaches that goal to offer one, we pick that school, offer it, keep going down the list of all the tattoo artists that have picked. You can also donate to the scholarship fund. I'll put a link right down here. If you don't want to purchase a shirt and you just want to support or you just want to check it out and learn more, you can go check out that link. Also go to lonelycowboycode.com. That'll be where all of our tattoo artist collab blogs are, all of our clothing from past artists, as well as learning more about the scholarship fund, learning more about Lonely Cowboy. And without further ado, I appreciate you supporting. I'm your host, Kellen. Welcome to another episode of Convos with KEEGS. Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Convos with KEEGS. I'm here with Hannah Matthews, a tattoo artist out of South Jordan, Utah. Thank you for being on, Hannah. And
Thanks for having me.
Of course. First question, what got you started in the tattoo world?
I mean, how far back do you want to go?
As far back as you want, yeah.
So I grew up in a pretty strict Christian household, and then being kind of in Utah. I don't know how much you know about Utah, but very dense population of the LDS church here. Mm-hmm. So anyway, just growing up super devout Christian, tattoos were always a no-go, a very looked down upon thing. And I, for whatever reason, was like, well, now that I'm not supposed to do it or I can't have it, it's so fascinating to me. So yeah, I just was always super intrigued by the art aspect of it too. My dad's an illustrator. And so I grew up, just watching him make art for a living. And it was the most crazy thing. I'd always have him come into our school classes, and he would do little, how to draw classes or whatever. So just watching him be able to provide for us using his art was always really cool. So then, just later down the road, I ended up getting married. I have 2 kids, and after having my second baby, I was just feeling like I was losing myself and really needed something to kind of, I was just not feeling fulfilled in myself. I just felt like there was more for me out there. And at that same time, I was getting a lot of tattoos from a couple of different artists here in Utah and just felt so drawn to it. It was so intriguing to me. I would just sit and ask them questions and how they got started and, the pros and cons, the highs, the lows, everything about tattooing, and just really felt that it was something for me, being a mom where I could still be a mom at home and then have my own thing, where I could fill that kind of creative void that I was looking for. So really just kind of decided to go for it. It was very on a whim, which I know is not a super, I feel like there's a lot of different ideas of how you're supposed to start tattooing. And so I know it wasn't a very traditional way, but I literally just kind of went for it. I felt really called to it. I felt in my gut that it was the thing I was supposed to be doing. So that's really it.
And did you have any past drawing experience, or were you always kind of in the art world, I should say?
Yeah, I feel like I was more so a creative person all around versus someone who would just sit down and draw. I had a lot of photography background and would always do a lot of more so graphic design. Not a whole lot of just sitting down and having to draw a put pen to paper and having to draw something. But yeah, I feel like I've always just been a creative person all around. So,
Gotcha. And you said you're like, I can totally relate when you said the typical kind of tattoo artist path is usually like, you know, you get an apprenticeship and then you work there in a studio for however long, a year or whatever, and then you start tattooing. And out of all the tattoo artists I've interviewed and just being in the space and kind of really diving into the whole world, especially now, more and more tattoo artists have kind of taken your path where like you want to try it and then you try it and it works, you know? So how long was that kind of process from when you decided to start tattooing to where you're at now?
So, okay, I'm a like self-taught, proclaimed self-taught artist.
Yeah.
But I did do like a little, 3-day like training basically. So where I paid this girl. This is also a very hot topic here in Utah.
Okay.
A very controversial topic. So, but anyway, it's like this class that these girls teach that came from like a permanent makeup background and then feel like they can teach how to do tattoos. So I'm not proud of that part of it. It was very like, I know there's like no right or wrong way to get into the tattoo world, but it's the wrong way. If there is a wrong way, that was the wrong way.
Yeah.
So anyway, we can dive more into that if you want to later. But so I think I got a tattoo from that girl in like August of 2020, I think. And then I had signed up for her class and taken her class January, like end of January 2021. So, and then I just started tattooing like literally right after my class. As part of the class, like the third day of class, you know so much about tattooing. Come tattoo a model. And yeah, bath. Luckily it was my husband and he was a champ and it actually turned out pretty fine for like being my first tattoo, but still I would not recommend going that route. So yeah, it was probably like 6 months from when I was like really decided that this was what I wanted to do. And then, so 6 months later, I took that class and that was January of 2021. So it'll be like 2 years next month that I've been tattooing.
Holy smokes.
So,
well, your work is incredible. And
thank you.
You've amassed a pretty sizable audience.
Social media is crazy.
It's crazy. Let's get into that a little bit. I always find it very interesting hearing the perspective of the tattoo artist on the state of social media and everything. And personally, I think social media is very, very beneficial for tattoo artists in particular. But the other side of that is like, how do you manage the work-life balance when a big part of being a tattoo artist is promoting your work and being on social media? Do you ever find it difficult to kind of turn off work?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It is. Yeah, it's that cute little double-edged sword, social media. I would not be anywhere near where I am today if it weren't for like Instagram and TikTok. But at the same time, like it's my whole everything. Like in my head, I'm like, it's like I'll see something, hear a song, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a great post. Oh, that'd be a great blip to use for a reel. Like, oh, I should post this. Oh, I haven't posted on my stories in 3 days. Are people gonna even freaking remember who I am? Like, It's the craziest thing. Like I'm always in my head about it, and I feel like for sure that's it. Kind of ebbs and flows. But that's for sure my one thing. Like people are like, how the hell did you get to where you are? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. But I can tell you that I've been consistent in posting on Instagram. And that really, I like put my head down that first year. And I was like, if I'm going to freaking do this, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I just needed. Yeah. So.
Well, you've absolutely killed it.
Thank you. It's been it's been really fun. And now, of course, you always hear everyone that's like, don't burn yourself out. Don't burn yourself out. And I'm like, oh, I've got this. It's fine. Like, I love social media. It's a fun, like, creative side to like having a creative job. And then, of course, like this past fall, I was like, I am burnt the hell out. Like, this is what they were all warning me about. It is real. It is a real thing. They were not making it up. So I feel like now I'm kind of at the point where I was in high gear for so long, and then I had to immediately slam on the brakes. But now I feel like I'm just like kind of coasting now, and it's nice. I felt like I've found that balance. Sorry if you can hear my kid.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
Go find Dada. So yeah, I feel like it's been a good like learning experience, but then it's also helped me, really get that growth. So
yeah, I definitely I've experienced the burnout recently, probably about a month or two ago. I'm still getting out of it, but like that's my least favorite part of my work for Lonely Cowboy is the social media aspect of it. I can't keep up. Like, and it's
hard that all these platforms keep changing everything. Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like a big thing too for me was when Instagram was pushing, like, I guess they still are pushing like reels and stuff, but it was like, they were literally like giving you a list of like, okay, this is what we're pushing. This is how you do it. Here's how to post it. And I was like, okay, they're literally giving me the like key to having something do well on here. Yeah. So for a while too, I was like, they want to play a game, like put me in, coach, like let's play. Yeah. So I was doing all of the things, and I did grow. I did grow a lot, but like it wasn't how I wanted to create content. And so then I feel like that kind of went hand in hand with the burnout. It was like almost like expedited the burnout was creating in ways that I was being told to create versus like just creating how I wanted to. So
100%.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like, I'm trying to freaking learn how to just tattoo. Like I just want to tattoo. I want to go to my studio. I want to do a tattoo and I want to go home. Yeah. Like I don't want to have to, I'm like, I got a ring light over here with the recording and I got a freaking, like I didn't sign up for this. I just want a tattoo. But
right. Have you ever considered hiring a social media manager?
I have. I've had a few reach out, and I think for me, I really do enjoy like the content side of it. I think like making content, just as long as I'm making it how I want to make it instead of having that like list.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. And so I think also for me, I'm like a control freak, and I'm like, this is my face and my name on this business. Like I want it to be coming from me. So as like selfish and bratty as that sounds, I feel like I just have to have everything under my control. Like I have to see everything through how I want it to. So I've definitely considered like just having someone, like even if I'm making it and they're like in charge of posting it, or like, just going through and responding to the comments. I don't know. But
yeah, that's kind of the route I've been thinking about whenever that time comes when I can hire a social media manager. I'm the same way. I need to be in control of what's being posted. So like I don't think I could ever hire someone to make stuff and post it without me at least seeing it first, Right. But I think that's a big goal of mine, is to hire a social media manager, just for the simple fact that I want to get my work-life balance, so to say, a little bit more in check. Because right now, as you know, and if you slow down on social media, you're going to get lost,
Yeah.
What do you think is how do you manage all of that? Because being a tattoo artist in and of itself, forget social media, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of behind the scenes work that not many people see. And I've experienced this recently, having my my personal tattoo artist, Peyton. She's in the studio just ahead of mine, and I go in there to film and everything. So I've been kind of immersed in the behind the scenes of whether that's booking or designing or just dealing with kind of shitty clients, how do you kind of manage that all? And are there any things you do to slow down and say like, okay, from this time to this time, I'm not going to look at my phone because it's just work doesn't stop if you do?
I feel like, I don't know. It's hard for me I feel like I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah.
Like I wish I had tips and tricks and like tangible, like things that I do to kind of help that balance. But also like I have like throw being a mom in there too. Like I have 2 little kids that literally take up so much of my time.
Of course.
And so, I really just, I don't know. Yeah. I've kind of made it known on my page that like, if you need something from me, I will get back to you. It may not be in your time frame. I will get back to you. So I've kind of put that out there that even though you can access me through DMs, I may not get back to you. Yeah. So there's that. I kind of have just, so that I don't have to deal with angry people like, you didn't answer my DM. I'm like, I'm sorry. But as far as like behind the scenes with tattooing, yeah, I literally I kind of like post when I need to. Usually in the morning, that's when I like to post. And then I'll go through like for the first 10 minutes after a post and just kind of respond to comments and like respond to some DMs just so that, again, kind of playing Instagram's game just so that they know that I'm active on there still. Yeah. So that hopefully my post will get pushed. And then after that, yeah, I'm pretty good about keeping my phone away and just doing what I need to do around the house. And then usually at night before, once I put my kids to bed and before I go to bed, I have like an hour and a half window where I just kind of bust out like drawings, emails. I've been really bad about getting drawings done up until like the night before. People are like, hey, do you have like a little draw up for me to like look at? Because I usually like to. I know I'm not sending people draw ups like a month out. That's just absolutely asinine that a client would even ask for real. A draw up a month out. But yeah, I've been trying to, just, I don't know. I usually have the drawing done like the night of, which sucks. And I wish I was better about having it done earlier so that people can see their draw up. But so yeah, kind of bouncing, but not really. Just whenever I have a chance.
I think
There's nothing.
It's for me at least, and I want to kind of hopefully get other people who are interested in tattoos on board. I love the thrill of not knowing what I'm getting until the day of. Like on this whole arm is pretty much covered from one artist. Her name's Natisse Thomas. She's out of South Lake Tahoe. And after the first one she gave me, I was like, okay, you have all the creative control. Just, I don't care what you do. I don't even want to see it until I get there the day of. And I personally think if more people were to give their artists control over the designs and just give them more creative freedom, they would A, get a better tattoo, B, the tattoo artist would enjoy the experience more, and it's just all around better for everyone involved.
Yeah, the part that's kind of tricky about like the style that I do and being in Utah is that I'm getting a lot of people who it's their first tattoo and they just want to start little and they don't know, so it's like scary for them and they of course are just nervous about it, and it's usually something that's like sentimental, so they want to like nitpick like every single little like corner and dot, which is totally fine. It's going on your body forever. Like I don't blame you. But yeah, it is. They're not to that point of like, okay, this is an art form. Like let the artist do their job. So in like, just I feel like my clientele base is very like fresh to the tattoo world, and so I'm sure they'll figure it out eventually that it's it is an art form. It's not just like getting some words or whatever. But yeah, so they're definitely nowhere near that mindset of just like letting the artist kind of do what they want, which is fine. But yeah, it's a fun switch to make. I do have a couple of clients who, like, I have a guy who I'm working like kind of on a patchwork sleeve for him. And this last one, he's like, I'm just booking you for 4 hours. Drop whatever you want. You know my style. I'll be there. You'll be there. Let's do it. So, and that was, yeah, it was really fun to it's been fun to piece it all together and stuff.
Yeah. And like you were saying, how the clientele in Utah, they're just getting into the tattoo world. Is it kind of taboo in Utah to get tattoos?
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely, you have like your traditional tattoo scene for sure, where you have people that are covered and they're going to like a traditional studio. But a lot of like my clientele that's coming to get the little teeny tiny stuff, just the one word script or like a little flower or whatever, the fine line stuff, that whole client base is all really new because it is so taboo, because you're in a very, very Christian state where it's like tattoos are frowned upon, looked down upon, judged. You are less than, you are not worthy, all of the things. I've heard it all. And so, but I feel like this generation coming up, they're kind of like, I can still be a good person and still have good values and morals and still like do what I want to do and like express myself how I want to express myself. So that's been cool to watch. Even this generation that's coming up, like I feel like is teaching the older generation. Like I have a lot of like women who are in their 40s and 50s and they're like, I've wasted the last 30 years of my life being so concerned about what God thinks of me and what my neighbors think of me, when I know that I'm fine and I have my own relationship with, God or whoever you believe in. And I can still do myself. Like I can still do what I want to do. Like I can be me. So it's been really cool. I feel like it's been really, really a cool experience for me to watch these people like transform in front of my eyes, basically. Like it's really neat for me to be a part of like having them help find themselves and do something for themselves for the first time in a long time. So it's been really cool.
I've dealt with, probably not to the extent of a lot of people living in Utah. Like you said, it's a very Christian populated. Actually, quick tangent. So are Christian and Mormon, like how do those go together? Are they? Yeah,
so it's just, the Mormons are like a Christian denomination.
Okay.
So like they believe, but it's very, so it's the LDS church, but Mormons, out here.
Gotcha.
It's very, just literally growing up, I probably had like one non-Mormon kid in like all my classes. There's that one kid that grows up that's like not Mormon. And it's like, oh, we don't have sleepovers at Susie's house because she's not Mormon. Just like it's very, and times are definitely changing, and also kind of depends on the area that you live in. Like Salt Lake area is a pretty good melting pot. Like you have a pretty good diverse group. But down in Utah County where I grew up is like Mormon Central. And it's fascinating because it's very much like the culture of the church. It's not like the actual like church doctrine, but it's like Utah has made this like church culture to where like it's like keeping up with the Joneses culture, which is just, so it's a lot of comparing, a lot of judging, a lot of, oh my gosh, did you see this? Oh my gosh, did you hear about, it's a very, it's crazy. It's intriguing actually.
It is.
So when I got my first tattoo, it was like there was so much guilt. Like it was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be worthy to da-da-da-da-da, which is so crazy because like literally everyone is getting tattoos and it's so normal. But like in my head growing up, it was literally like, it was so bad. Like it was so bad to get a tattoo. But
I experienced the same thing, like I wouldn't say to that extent, but I've been called a criminal, a bad person, everything under the sun, every negative connotation you could associate with someone who has tattoos. I've been called that, and it's definitely ruined a lot of relationships I've had with family, not so much friends, because I mean, my friends just don't give a fuck about what I do, you know? Right. But family members, like, whenever they would judge me for something, for a tattoo I got, the next one I would get, it would, jokingly, I would say, like, all right, well, the next one I get, it's going to be for you because you told me I can't do it. And I think slowly over time, once I started getting heavier tattoos and covering my body more, they got to a point where, like, they know they can't change the tattoos. They're not going to waste their breath anymore. Exactly. Yeah. But it is fascinating to me that the shift in generations is kind of taking place right before our eyes. Like, the generation that doesn't accept tattoos, and doesn't accept a lot of things in general. And now the generation coming up who really doesn't care about anything, and they just want to be themselves and be happy and live a happy life together. It's very, very odd watching it in real time. Do you feel the kind of divide between these two generations?
Sorry, what was
Sorry. I was going to say, do you feel like the divide between the two generations right now?
Yeah, I feel like it's been I can definitely see the divide, but I also, like, I'll have a girl who just turned 18. She's coming to get her first tattoo, and her mom wanted to come with her just to make sure everything was good. Yeah. And then she realizes that there's a space for tattoos where you don't have to walk into a big tattoo shop and get tattooed by a big burly guy who's kind of, intimidating looking and is going to talk you into a tattoo you don't want to have. Like, I feel like the older generation just has that picture of, like, getting a tattoo. So it's been really cool to kind of be part of this, I don't know, like, this newer option, I guess, of tattooing. I know that fine line is not new, but, like, to Utah, it's a little bit newer. And so I feel like they have, like, the older generation, kind of has this idea of, like, what getting a tattoo will be. So anyway, back to the scenario of the 18-year-old coming in to get her first tattoo. Her mom's with her and is like, oh, this is, like, a cute studio. Oh, this is a really, like, chill setting. We're just listening to, we're just vibing to country music. We're just chilling. Yeah. And it's, like, a good experience. And then, next thing you know, mom's got herself an appointment, for 2 months down the road. Yeah. So I feel like there is that divide, but it's also a lot of, like, learning. And I think it's really cool when the older generation can learn, from the younger generation that's coming up, and, like, have an open mind and an open heart to, like, things changing. Totally. So you're still gonna have your staunchy people, your strict older generation that will forever have their opinions, and that's just fine. They are entitled to them, but I think it's really cool to kind of see that divide be gapped by whether it's, getting a tattoo or just kind of opening their eyes to other things, which is, like, even for me, like, my mom hates literally everything to do with tattoos. Like, getting my first tattoo was really hard for her. And, like, it kind of put a little damper on our relationship. And she told me some things about my future life, because now that I have a tattoo, I won't be able to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And now that I've been successful in being a tattoo artist, and, like, providing for my family and meeting all sorts of cool people and having experiences that I normally wouldn't have, I think it's taught her a lot about, like, it's not this, like, tattooing isn't sent from the devil. Like, it's not, like, you can still be a good, wholesome person and have tattoos or, be a tattoo artist. So I think it's cool to kind of like bridge those gaps a little bit. But I mean, divide will always be there. People will always have their opinions.
100%. Getting a little bit into the mental health aspect of it, do you think that tattoos for yourself and also for the clients you have are a form of almost therapy?
Oh, absolutely. I think, I mean, you see like TikToks and posts all the time about like, oh, I needed to schedule my therapy appointment this month. And then it's like, goes to schedule tattoo appointment or, you know, whatever. Like there's that like ongoing joke of getting a tattoo is equivalent to going to therapy.
Totally.
I definitely think so. I know that it's like a funny thing to joke about, but I definitely think so. Kind of going back to like people just finding themselves for the first time, coming to get their first little tattoo, whether it's like a little tiny heart on their ribs that no one's ever going to see, but it was just something for them. Mm-hmm. It's crazy what that minuscule like confidence boost or like that little first step to like taking like your ownership back over yourself can do to someone's, you know, self-esteem. It's and then that snowballs into, you know, whatever else. Then they're ready to take the second step and the third step. And then before you know it, they're like a whole ass new person and they're like just thriving and are excited to be themselves. I mean, for me, like whenever I feel bad about myself or whatever, like I feel like that snowballs in a negative way. But, you know, getting a new tattoo, feeling confident about yourself, I feel like can take you so far because it kind of gives you that a little bit of serotonin boost and then you're feeling good about yourself. And then you know, you're going to Target after your appointment and you compliment that girl. And then it like, she's like, oh, that was so nice. And so then she's nice to the person out in the parking lot. You know, she helps them put their cart away. It's just kind of like the snowball effect. It's really cool.
Totally.
You know, that's a scenario that would probably never happen, but you know what I'm saying? Like it just carries, there's just something about having that little bit of self-confidence boost, I think can do some good.
Yeah, totally. I always I think about it like whenever I get a new tattoo, I feel like I am a little bit more myself, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because I eventually want my whole body covered, but that's a lot of real estate. It's going to take a lot of time and money, but eventually that's the goal. And every time I get a new one, I feel a little bit closer to like who I truly am, if that makes sense. But
yeah, when you feel happier and more, I don't know, I think it definitely plays into like mental health because it's like when you feel like you're becoming yourself, you know, you feel better about yourself. Like you feel, yeah.
Are there any mental health practices outside of tattoos that you do on a daily basis that kind of help you in just day-to-day life, even if they're like the simplest things like drinking enough water every day, you know?
Yeah. As I'm over here like chugging my Stanley. Yes, drinking water for sure. Yeah, I think I really love listening to, I don't know if you've heard of the Skinny Confidential podcast, but she's kind of like an influencer blogger that's been doing it for like since the beginning of influencing. And her husband have a podcast and they have a lot of really like high up successful people on their podcast. And I feel like they're constantly asking these successful people how they became so successful or like what they do in their lives. And so it's really cool that they all kind of have the same thing to say as to why they were successful. And it's like starting your morning off, like just being grateful for what you have. I think that's huge. I like literally every single person that goes on their podcast that's like has multi-million-dollar companies or like is a professional athlete or doctors or just whoever, just really hit home of how important it is for your morning to be successful.
Yeah.
So I kind of strive to have that be what starts me off. You know, start my day off on a positive note, hopefully. Sometimes I'm being woken up with kids yelling in my ear and that's not the greatest vibe for the morning. But, so yeah, just just kind of like opening my eyes and being grateful for like what I've been given, the cards I've been dealt. Grateful that I have, you know, a healthy, strong body and a healthy, strong mind, and trying to keep the mindset positive. And then, you know, next thing I know, I'm looking at my phone and it's like an email from someone who's like canceling their appointment that day. And so I'm like, oh shoot, like I've got to, you know, so then it's like reality hits. And so but then I'm grateful that I started out with something positive. So then I'm like, oh, it's okay. You know, maybe like it just wasn't meant to be today, instead of like, I don't know, if I don't start out with kind of going through that gratitude cycle, I feel like everything is, I'm not able to see the silver linings as clear throughout the rest of my day. So
Totally. And I totally agree. I don't listen to that specific podcast. But I have been reading a fair amount of books as of recently. I've kind of slowed down a bit since there's a lot going on with the company. But like you said, all of the successful people I've listened to say the same thing about morning routines and making sure you win the mornings, because it'll set you up for the rest of the day. I find it difficult sometimes, and I'm sure every successful person will say this, like getting in that routine and then staying disciplined in it for a long period of time is very, very hard. So would you have any kind of tips, or like even just experiences of your own when, let's say, you build a routine, a solid, whether that's the tiniest things, and then having something in your life like either getting sick or maybe your kids get sick or something where it kind of alters that routine that you're in? How do you get back into it? Because that's something I struggle with a ton.
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like once you are in the routine long enough to see results, whether that's like a big result, or like you just feel like you are the teensiest bit happier or whatever, like I feel like those results can be addicting. And I feel like that's kind of what usually keeps me going, is that feeling of like, okay, I feel like there's tangible changes that are taking place. So I feel like maybe I just try and keep that feeling like locked away and ready to go when I do have that, like something throw off my routine, or I kind of just think back to, no, it feels good to be in routine. Like it feels good.
Yeah.
Like these are times when you like, yeah, I feel like just going back to that feeling of how good it feels to have the results that you're wanting, I think is a big like motivator to get back to it.
My struggle is I really enjoy getting up early, but I have a very, very hard time going to bed early.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm wasting hours if I don't go to bed at like midnight or 1, you know. But then I just feel like shit the next day. So it's a constant battle. This is an interesting question, and I'm very curious, and I really kind of look up to moms in particular, because my mom raised me pretty much single off and on my whole life. Like she's been the only person in my life that has been stable throughout. So I appreciate what mothers do probably more than the average Joe who has grown up with both parents, or you know, it's my mom has been a saint throughout my whole life, and majority of her side of the family was women. Like both of her cousins were girls, and my aunt, all 4 of them basically raised me. So what's it like having kids now, and what is the struggles, or what is the kind of part that you love, you know, just your perspective on being a mom?
As my kid is banging on the door. Perfect timing. Yeah, I don't know. I think I definitely, like you said, like it definitely puts a new perspective on like your own mom. Like I'm so grateful for the things that she has done for me. So yeah, I feel like it definitely has put a new perspective on like the appreciation for my own mom, which, yeah, I feel like should be a given that you're like, okay. I mean, especially like Christmas, like around Christmas time, like I've been getting like all my stuff prepped for my kids for Christmas. And I'm like, okay, this is a lot of freaking work. And I had a lot of Christmas magic growing up, you know, like I just felt like, I'm like, okay, no, that was all due to my mom. Like, my mom busted her butt to like make it a magical time and like have everything perfect. So definitely, I feel like it gives a new appreciation for my own mom, but also, I think kind of tying it into like your whole mental health aspect of your company. Having my kids was the first time that I had really experienced like anxiety and depression. Just with like postpartum, it was I never really had experienced anything like that before, and it's made me very empathetic towards people who deal with that on a daily basis. Just because I was never able to understand what it was like when people, you know, say that they have these intrusive thoughts or these feelings or these emotions. And so, yeah, just with my son, my first baby, I had some really, it wasn't like too severe, but severe enough to where I was like, okay, this is really scary. Like this is, it's a real thing. Like postpartum anxiety is a real thing. And it was terrifying. And I was like, I never want to feel like that again. So I don't remember your original question, but yeah, it definitely changed me with, you know, I feel like just having that experience, like it being able to experience the anxiety and depression that you hear so much about. It's definitely made me more empathetic towards, I mean, I have a lot of clients who come in and are like getting tattoos, like for, like as part of like their actual therapy, like, or, you know, getting a tattoo to overcome how they overcame their depression or, you know, a really bad time in their lives where they were really down in the dumps, and it was like a tattoo, an ode to that or whatever. So I feel like just being able to experience that, even though it was really shitty to go through, I feel like has helped me, just be a better mom and be a better, you know, artist. I feel like I can connect with my clients on a deeper level that way, which if I didn't have my kids, I wouldn't have had those experiences to be able to kind of relate to, I guess.
Yeah. That's kind of what excites me for whenever the day comes that I have kids. I've kind of been back and forth on whether I want to have kids or not, but as of recently, I would say within the last few months, it really kind of cemented in my brain that I do want to have kids. I think about it, this is a total, not a good comparison, but whenever I have like a shitty day at work or whatever, I go home and I see my dog and she's all happy to see me and everything. That's kind of what I imagine having kids like. My dog grounds me in a way that no matter how bad of a day I've had, coming home to see her and see her like super excited and just all the joy in the world to see that I'm home, or whenever my mom gets home, she says the same thing with my dog. Same with my stepdad. Like, I'm excited for that part of life. I don't want to rush it too much because I have to get a lot of things in order with the company, but whenever that day comes, I'm excited for it.
Well, I'm kind of going back to like why I even started, like, because I started tattooing because I was like, I love my kids to death, but I need something for myself to do. So, I mean, I only work 2 days a week. But those 2 days where I kind of get to do something for myself and have that like middle of the week reset, it makes me so much happier at home.
Yeah.
Like the times that I'm home, I'm happy to be home and not feeling like that I'm trapped or that I'm just like talking to a wall all day. You know, like it feels like I feel like I'm ready to be home. Which is nice. Like, even though it's put more on my plate to like be a business owner and a service provider and then also be a mom, it's added so much stress to my life, but it's also added so much balance. Like, I get to have my own thing and my own little like community away from like my real life.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy and just so fun. It's like I can be, like I have all these different parts of me that are kind of making up my like true authentic self. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those two worlds don't really collide very often. I kind of keep my personal life out of, off of my business page, but they're two sides of me that coexist, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. It's something I'm trying to balance with the podcast specifically, is keeping personal and business separate. Like, I think it's just kind of what I signed up for. I knew going into this whole media business and doing podcasts often, it's a side of me that not a lot of people would see otherwise. And having like talking on a camera and on a mic for 5 hours a week, like people are going to get to know me in my life, you know, and it's, I've definitely debated whether I want that to, like how I want to control that almost. And it's very difficult. It's just very hard to separate the two. But you mentioned you work 2 days a week. So how do your bookings work? Do you book every month in advance, or because I can imagine your books are flying if you're only doing 2 days a week?
It is. I'm still fine tuning it.
Yeah.
It is. When I first started, and it was like I was just really just taking any client that would want a tattoo from me. I was kind of like, I would always like dog on the artists that are like, sorry that I can't get you in, like, sorry that my books are full. I'm like, just open more days, like, or just, and now I'm like in that position and I'm like, okay, humble yourself. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely still fine tuning it, but I kind of do like, so I just opened my books like 2 weeks ago. Basically what I do, I just have people fill out a form and then I go through the forms and email people back. And then, so I think I booked up through like the first week of April.
Holy smokes. Dang.
But that was turning down like 300 entries. Not to like toot my own horn, but it's crazy. Like I still like just going through the forms, and it's a lot of work because again, I should probably hire someone, but it's like, I'm so like, someone else isn't going to know what I want to tattoo, you know, like an assistant isn't going to know what projects I want to take on. An assistant isn't going to know to email this person back and tell them how long to book an appointment for.
Yeah.
Like, so I could still like tell an assistant those things, but I feel like if I'm sitting and telling someone to type out, hey, book an appointment for 3 hours, like I might as well just be typing an email to like, hey, book 3 hours.
Yeah.
So still kind of toying with an assistant for that part too. I feel like it's so overwhelming. Like it took me 2 weeks to go through forms, figure out which ones I wanted to do, email people back. And then you still have the 2 or 3 people that are like, I've been following you since you started.
Yeah.
And I feel like I deserve an appointment. And I'm like, I literally wish I could take on your like tattoo. Like there are so many tattoo ideas that I would love to do, but I don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
And it sucks not being able to like scale your business with tattooing or like any service provider. I mean, it's hard to scale your business. You're just one little gal, you know, you can't, there's nothing to like, I can't do more. And I wish that I could. And it's so hard because I'm such a people pleaser at heart. And so it tears me up inside when someone's like, I'm really bummed I didn't get an appointment, but I'm so happy that you're so busy and that you like have the option. I'm like, no, no, don't do this. Like, I feel so bad.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm still learning. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is that like you can't please everyone, and that's okay. Even if you're doing like I'm doing my best. There's like 10 fine line artists that we all kind of started the same way, started at the same time. We have our like little group that we're always talking, and everyone is booked out like that. It's crazy. Like the little fine line, tiny tattoos here in Utah it's like booming. It's crazy that so many of us are so booked out. But yeah, it's been cool. I'm really grateful. It's crazy to me. Like I feel like I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm like, are you sure? You sure you want to come get a tattoo? Like, and I probably have, I don't know, anywhere from like 10 to 12 people a month who are getting on an airplane from wherever they live and are flying to me to get a tattoo. And I'm just like,
holy
you're sure?
Shit.
Like you really, you're sure you want to come out here? Like, it's just, I'm so grateful for it, but I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. My Peyton, so she's the artist right ahead of me, and she's
I think I just started following her.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
She's so good.
She's going to be completing my sleeve. But what you were talking about, how if you were to ever hire an assistant, you'd be worried about, how would they know if I wanted to do this tattoo or whatnot. I've talked to Peyton about it a bunch. And, since we are like our day-to-day lives are very, very kind of combined, because I film for her and our studios are right next to each other, I've gotten a good grasp of her style and what she wants to tattoo, what she doesn't want to tattoo. And I guess my point being, like, if you were to ever consider hiring an assistant, I honestly think the best tattoo artist assistants or social media managers or booking managers, whatever it may be, would be someone who has gotten tattooed by you a bunch, A, and B, knows your style and what you want to do. Because I can't take on the role to be Peyton's assistant, but if I did have the time to do it, I know pretty much what she would want to do and what she wouldn't want to do. And she tells me, like, there's a few styles of tattoos, and she's like, I won't do them anymore because I've done them so many times. Do you have any styles where you've just done them so much where you're like, okay, I just need to do something else,
I don't know. I feel like there's styles that I don't like to do because I just don't like to do them versus like I'm getting sick of doing them. Yeah. Like I really don't like doing geometrical pieces. I know that's like such a typical, I don't know. I'd rather not have to tattoo a circle. Yeah. I'd rather not have to tattoo a square.
Gotcha.
It's just really hard.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Go ahead. I was just going to say that it's like, I know that like, I feel like that's a very beginner thing. I've always been intimidated by them. And so I just usually don't take them on, but.
Geometric. See, Peyton loves to do geometric. Like that's one of her favorite things.
And she kills it. She's so good.
She kind of has a similar story to you though, like self-taught. She was wood burning for 5 years prior. She didn't even realize like she was practicing. Because apparently wood burning is like one of the best ways to practice to be a tattoo artist. She had no idea that she was going to end up in this path, but we were talking about it because her first geometric piece was on me, and we were like researching artists in the area. We're always trying to find artists in Buffalo because Buffalo is a pretty small city, and the tattoo world isn't huge. There's only a few artists that are pretty well known, but they're even in America, like to find a geometric artist is very difficult. And
because no one wants to draw circles. They're so hard.
Yeah. Do you have any designs that you really enjoy doing?
Yeah, I feel like anything that's kind of like naturey is really fun for me. Just because it has that like natural flow that kind of flows with the body. I think another thing I have a hard time with geometric pieces is there's so much movement to the body.
Yeah.
And so not only having to understand how to tattoo, but understanding the body and its composition and how it's going to twist and turn and that kind of stuff. For me, if something is like I'm trying to fit a square on something that's curved, I'm like my eyes don't like it. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's like hard to have it look and sit well, especially when people are like, well, I just want it here. And I'm like, okay, well, your wrist is going to turn and then your whole rectangle is going to be off and it's not going to be cute. Right. So I feel like that's another hard thing with geometric pieces is just putting it on a body that flows.
Yeah.
But, so I really enjoy doing pieces that kind of flow with the body. I've also been, I do a lot of like, maybe this is kind of one that's burning me out a little bit is the birth flower bouquets. I know that it's like a big controversial topic on like
that's Peyton's too.
TikTok. I enjoy doing flowers. Yeah. I enjoy the sentiment of a birth flower bouquet. Again, kind of going back to like Utah is just getting they're just getting their first little baby tattoo. They're just dipping their toes in. They just want to get some flowers for their kids. I think it's a cute idea. Mm-hmm. Just give me a second, Kate. I think it's a really cute idea. I think it's a fun idea. I think it's an idea that is gonna be timeless. Like you're always gonna hopefully love your kids and the flowers that you got for them, or like your grandpa, like you're always gonna love him that you got the flower for. So in all those aspects, I really like it. The one part that's kind of burning me out about them is people are like, okay, well, I want the 3 flowers for my kids and 2 flowers for my parents and 1 flower for my dog and then 2 flowers for my cousins. I'm like, sis, you cannot fit a dozen flowers in a birth flower bouquet. It's not going to be cute. Yeah. So if it's like, I want one for my sister and my brother. I'm like, cute. 3 flowers is cute. We can make it work. Yeah. But when we get like too grand or like, okay, we want to do birth flowers and then add in the date of like someone around the stems. I'm just like, okay, this is a little too much. Yeah. So I think in those instances, I'm like, and it's hard to tell people like, hey, this is not good. Yeah. Yeah. Brooks, I need you to go, please. I'll tell you after. But I enjoy them being like a naturey piece. I really do like that. I've also kind of enjoyed lately doing, I feel like Western tattoos are like on the up and coming. I know that people have been getting them for a long time, but I've done so many like cowboy boots lately, or like little cowboy hats, or like little cowgirls.
The most recent one you posted was sweet.
Yeah, I was like tattooing it the whole time. I'm like, this is so cool. I was like fangirling over it. And I'm sure my client was just like, okay, we get it. Like, you like it. But I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. I love it. Yeah. So I've been really enjoying like the kind of like Western theme that's going on right now. Like little cactuses and like longhorn skulls, I feel like are really fun to do. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of what's really doing it for me these days. And I do a lot of like handwriting ones too that are really cool. Mm-hmm. I know that's kind of like just a basic, like it's not really like art. It's just getting someone's handwriting tattooed. But I feel like I always leave those appointments like feeling like my cup is full, just because it's usually a really cool experience for either like the client or for me or whatever. So.
Totally. This will be the last question, then we can wrap it up here. Okay. What advice would you have you could take it anyway, either the younger generation or up and coming tattoo artists, like any words of advice or a little motivation for someone who is trying to pursue their goals and dreams and maybe is in a little rut or just trying to work out of it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I kind of started this whole thing on like a gut instinct, which is not like me. I'm not someone to just like randomly start something. Like I kind of will overthink something, and like just not do something because it's like scary or new or intimidating or I don't know much about it. So this was very unlike me to just start tattooing. And I'm like so grateful that I just that was the one time I decided to listen to my gut, that I was like really pursued what I felt deeply in myself. So I would just say, you know, follow those gut instincts, those pings, whatever, whoever you believe in, the higher power, your higher self. I feel like for me, a huge thing is like been learning this year is like your higher self, your best self has the best intentions for you. So just listening and honing in and tuning into those gut instincts and those gut feelings, you're not going to be like led astray. Like your higher self wants what's best for you. So just listening to those gut feelings and acting on them, and just going for it with everything that you got. I feel like that was my biggest thing, was just kind of getting after it. Like once I decided what I was going to do, just really honing in and going after it, and having to, I mean, not being so worried about what other people are going to say or think. Like that was for sure a huge, like I had a lot of people that were like, you're going to be a tattoo artist. I'm like, yeah, it's just wait for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I'm again, people pleaser, like always worried about what people are thinking of me. And so, and this was the one time, like I really just put my head down and was like, I'm not going to care. I'm not going to care what other people are thinking about me, about this. Like, just was ready to prove a bunch of people wrong. So,
hell yeah.
I don't know, just go after it. Like, there's nothing, I think that's really cool, like, to watch a lot of people, even just on social media, like, you don't have to work a 9-to-5 job if you don't want to. Like, there's so many opportunities these days for you to just, be your own business owner. Like, go work for someone, start a business. I don't know. Like, there's so many different opportunities. And so don't freaking waste your cute little life doing something you don't want to do.
I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you for coming on. For anyone listening who wants to find your page, it's And You Tattoo, correct?
Yes.
Not Andy.
Not Andy.
How many people think your name is Andy?
Oh, lots. Like there was like, I don't know why, but it was like all in like one time frame. There was like a group of like 3 months where like 3 or 4 times a week I would get a message. Hey, Andy, I'm like wondering if I can like come schedule an appointment. And I'm like, but now that I've kind of put the joke out there, like now everyone just calls me Andy. Like, so on so many of my inquiry forms that I had for this past booking session, it was like, hey, Andy, like, haha. So now it's like this fun little joke. But
gotcha.
Yeah, the girl that runs our studio would get calls every week. Hey, I'm just wondering if you have Andy's schedule. And she's like, who the fuck? Like, we don't have an Andy here. Like, what's going on?
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's been fun.
Well, right on. They can find you at And You Tattoos, and if they want to book with you, it'll be a while. But when the time comes, how would they go about doing that?
I'm pretty good about keeping my Instagram page updated with like when my books will open. I usually don't have a date until like 2 weeks leading up to my book's opening. I'm shooting for like the beginning of March for this next time. So just keep a watch on my Instagram page. And then I usually just have a form for people to fill out with like what they're wanting, where they're wanting it, that kind of stuff. So
right on. Is there anything else to leave for the audience, or just wrap it up here?
I think so. I just want to thank you. Like, I feel like this is such a cool space that you're creating and holding. I feel like there's not anything like this. And so I appreciate that, first of all. And second of all, it's so like, I feel like the tattoo industry is such a, it's a tricky industry to figure out. Like
100%.
There's a lot of artists that are stuck in traditional ways, and that's fine. And there's a lot of artists who are wanting to pave a way for new styles and new settings and new, kind of breaking down old bad habits of the tattoo industry, which is really refreshing and nice. And even though those people who are kind of paving the way may get some like backlash from the traditional side of things. So I think it's really cool that you're doing this and kind of holding that space and starting the conversation and allowing artists to have a space to even talk about their art, where I feel like this is not anything that is really out there.
Well, so, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Yeah. That's the goal, is just to, honestly, exactly what you said, just give artists the opportunity to, I always say, like, tattoo artists need a space like this to be humanized almost, because, as you know, clients can be very rude and they don't see the person behind the art. And I'm trying to get more people to appreciate the artist instead of the art, because like we were saying in the beginning, you're going to have a way better experience if you're going to a tattoo artist because of the artist themselves, not just because of what they're going to put on your body,
Right.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it a ton. And if I'm ever in Utah, I'll make sure to come get a tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is another episode of Convos with KEEGS. You can find her at Anu Tattoo on Instagram, and beginning of March potentially for bookings.
Thank you so much.
Of course. I'll have a good one. Peace.